Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests. When I was 4, my parents moved to Barbados in the West Indies. My father had a job with the Electric Light and Power Company, a 3-year renewable contract. It was a wonderful experience for a young girl. Sun, sea, sky blue sugarcane, scented breezes, barracudas, bougainvillea, all those things I had to take in at an early age. And for me it was wonderful to run barefoot through the area that we lived, in the sand, and swim every day. A wonderful experience for a child, until I had to go to big school. I was 6 years old. Now, big school was the St. Winifred's Academy for young ladies. St. Winifred's required that you wore a uniform. My mother took me to the Uniform Imperium with a list, and it said, wide-brimmed Panama hat with school band. Short sleeve shirt, white cotton, button up to the neck, 2. Tunic, green, box pleat, 1. Sash, brown, 1. Tie, green and brown, 1. Brown socks, brown shoes, and green knickers. Green knickers? Look at the price of those green knickers, my mother said. I'm sure I can make some at home much cheaper. And so she said to the man who was selling us the school uniform, we'll take it all except for the green knickers. On the way home from the Emporium, my mother bought some green dye. She was going to dye my white Airtex knickers green. Now, for your information, young ladies of my tender age that came from Britain all wore white Airtex knickers, full-bodied knickers, white, with punched holes all over them to let them breathe. She was going to dye my white Airtex knickers green. That afternoon, she got out the pot and she put it on, water on to boil. She put in the green dye, and I was instructed to pop my knickers in. The dye was dark green, nothing like the pale green of the school uniform that we just bought. But my mother said she was following the instructions for dyeing cotton. It would probably get lighter as it went along. And so, for a prescribed time, the pot bubbled and I stirred, and my knickers turned from white to dirty sage green. They don't look anything like the knickers that we were going to buy, Mum. They'll be fine when they dried, she said. Those knickers got bigger and bigger and bigger under my very gaze. And when they were hung out on the line to dry, they were big, sage green, muddy Airtex knickers. I just burst into tears. But my mother, she was never one for histrionics, and she said, you'll have to wear them. I'll go to the shop and get a lighter dye for next time. So there I was, going to my first school, worried about my underwear. I developed coping strategies so that the children wouldn't see my green knickers. If it was windy, I would pull down my skirt or sit on it like this. When we had to do handstands, I would tuck my skirt up under the knicker leg for some decorum. I got a note to stop me from having to take gym. Because when you took gym, you had to take your tunic off, and there you were in your knickers and your shirt. I don't know how long this went on for, but I had a knicker crisis one day. Being in first grade, I had to be at the front of the assembly under the watchful gaze of the headmistress. She stood surveying us all on a small podium. It was hot. We were outside under a tin roof to stop us from getting wet in sudden tropical showers. I began to feel queasy. I didn't have the gumption to say, please, I feel queasy. And so, before long, thunk! Down onto the podium I went, onto the corner of my forehead, and I don't remember anything else until I came to on a stretcher with my tunic up, showing my green neck. I tried to pull it down, but somebody held my hand, so that gave me one hand left to pull down. Don't worry, dear, we'll take you to the sick room, they said. Across the courtyard, up the stairs, and then I had to transfer from the stretcher to the bed, and that was another reason for my tunic to come up and show those knickers. They tried to distract me. Oh, that's a wonderful egg you have on your head, they said. We'll cook it for breakfast in the morning. I didn't care a damn about, excuse me, I didn't care about that bump that was growing on my head. All I cared was that they should see my green knickers. Thank goodness it ended with my mum coming to take me home. I don't remember how long I went to that school after that, but I do remember that my knickers went away. Let's put it this way, I changed schools. I went to a convent. Blue and white uniform, no tie, no knickers. Well, no, that's not true. I wore knickers, but they were ordinary ones, and we wore shorts when we did gym. That has stayed indelibly in my mind. Do I have any green knickers in my lingerie drawer? No. Will I ever buy a pair of green lacy knickers? No. Will I ever go to Barbados again? Well, that depends. I mean, sometimes you have to have an experience and relive it so that you can go through it, don't you? After all, there's sun, sand, and sky blue sea, sugarcane. There's scented breezes, bare feet, brown skin. Barracudas? Well, that's another kettle of fish, isn't it?